Hey kids, it's Bobo here, and you're listening to the wildest, most far out, wiggling podcast, Anime Egotists. We love you, beauty.
And welcome back to the Anime Egotists, where I'm not sure what's better, our filler episodes or our canon episodes.
Unfortunately for us, our filler episodes are 10 times better than our canon.
That actually doesn't surprise me in the slightest. That's the weird thing. But anyways, my name's Alex, and Ash Ketchum, it was a good run. I'm gonna miss you.
And I'm Richard. You were okay.
Yeah, and Ash, I love you, but I also do still hate you. It's a complicated relationship.
That's the best way of describing it.
Yeah, but what else is complicated is anime. Now, before we've talked about the best and worst anime episodes, the episodes that we think, wow, these episodes are fantastic or hilarious or heartwarming, or wow, these episodes are really, really bad or backtrack or stuff like that. But the thing is, there are so many bad or great anime episodes, we couldn't just leave that to one list now, could we?
No, we're really... Yeah, I've developed several new ones that I have at least 4 on here that from relatively newer things, I think. Yeah. Since I think I to that list, so.
I wanted to, but I only have one because I feel like we've talked before about newer shows and not wanting to spoil them too much, especially if they're just coming out. But I do have one in mind.
Well, I meant new to me. I mean, some of these are at least 1 season old now, so I think we'll be okay.
I have more for the next time, but in this case, we're doing more of the worst anime episodes. And like I've said, I've watched a lot of new anime recently, but a lot of those fall under the best episodes, so we'll be talking about that hopefully next time. But nope, these are more episodes that either frustrated us, annoyed us, made us want to stop watching. It's basically any type of criteria, as long as it's bad.
Yeah, so on the last time we did this video, I know you went first, so do you want to go first again?
Sure, why not?
Alright.
Alright. Oh, sweet lord. Okay, so let's get these ones out of the way. Gintama episodes 148 and 149. Oh, that's right. These are Gintama episodes. I have to read the titles of them. Zip up your fly, nice and slowly. And when breaking a Uber in half, that's the end with the knob that should be better. It's also tasty to drink from there.
Okay.
Yeah, so Soguo and Hijikata are basically trapped in basically a saw or jigsaw style thing where if they don't get out, they'll die, basically. Now, we know these two, who they don't really get along, but they need to get along for this because otherwise they're going to die. And the crazy thing is, there are moments where they kind of realize and learn more about each other. Like they start to realize, wow, this person I'm with is actually kind of reliable, or hey, we should come up with a plan together. It starts off kind of weird, but at the same time, it has its moments. Only for the end, Hichikata basically falls down a shaft, and Sogo tells the person recording Jigsaw, he tells him, "Oh, hey, thanks for that. That was a really fun prank." And I'm like, "Yeah, are you sure that was a nice thing for me to do?" I was like, "I don't care." I don't know. It doesn't. It feeds more into my feelings of Sogo being. I find you funny, but at the same time, like there, like it. I don't know. Oh, it felt like more of a mean spirited prank than just a haha prank. So I don't know. I think that might have been my turning point with Sogo being like, I like you, dude, but I don't need you in nearly as many episodes as everybody else does.
Yeah, I can see them trying to make that funny, the whole jigsaw thing, but it's been done a lot where I know like in Western cartoons, I know Family Guy's done like short skits and stuff with it, so I just don't know how it would play out, especially because it sounds like it's what, a two episodes long story.
2 episodes long. I'm not reading those episode titles again because I'm just not doing it.
Ah, man.
No.
No, but I can kind of co-sign that. That's kind of an idea that's been done a lot. It's that same over and over again. How to put it? Saw style story.
Yeah. And it hurts all the more because it makes Hijikata look kind of bad, and he beat up Frieza one episode. Sorry, Breeza, because that's yeah,
Copyright.
yeah. Like it's not a horrible episode. There are some funny moments, but it also just kind of signified for me, yeah, I'm not liking this character as much as I should anymore.
I can understand that. As I said, I haven't seen Gintama, so I can't really say for certain, but I'll co-sign onto the episode.
All right. What is your first episode or episodes?
So this one I know you'll be able to talk about at least a little bit with me, and that's Shobit's episode 4. She runs errands.
Yeah,
So
I had a feeling this was going to be on your list.
yeah, I think we've talked about this separately. That this I had to take a break. I started Shobits because it sounded kind of interesting. Uh, just the fact that it spends like 80% of the episode with Chi walking around the city going underpants, 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 and then not understanding. It's like I understand that, but this came at a really awkward time. It feels like there should have been more development for the story before you get just kind of this comedic episode thrown in that's not really going to further anything that we need. Um, it just it slows down the pacing of the first like 2 episodes that are two. I can't remember if the third episode's that story driven, but the first 2 episodes are heavily story driven of developing that. Hey, he's getting a job, he's finding chi, he's studying to go to university, all this other stuff, and then this is what we get for the fourth episode.
Yeah. Even I love this show more than life itself, but even I'll admit this is probably not the strongest episode. Oh, I even remember telling you, "Hey, man, if you start Chilbits, you can skip the underpants episode." You kind of just like, "Okay, that's weird," but you didn't listen to me apparently.
I didn't realize until halfway through the episode this was the episode you were talking about, and it's like I'll just leave it on. And as I said, I took a break. I'm still sitting at about episode 12. I just got distracted with some other stuff, so I'm hoping to get back to Showbits now that I know it's something I can finish binging.
Yeah. I will say this episode is dumb, but there are a couple of bright spots for me. Because I remember in the review I did for Chobit, somebody pointed out how it was the worst episode, and somebody else pointed out in the comments saying, actually, I thought it was a pretty good episode at times because it showed Chi learning more about the world basically by herself. Oh, and she grew from it. It's just not handled in the best way possible. Also, the plot twist of Chi pulling out the boxers at the end that say "good job" on them. Every time I watch that episode, that moment, I always crack up. I'm like,
Yeah,
I need a pair of those.
yeah, it's not. It's just badly placed. I feel like there should be more development because I think in an episode or two we get the whole Showbits kind of started that storyline in the series. In like it's so it just feels misplaced. I know it's a filler episode just to cover until we get to the actual mean bones of the story, but still, it just doesn't fit right for me where it is.
We need to do a drinking game for take a drink every time Chi says underpants.
Oh, great. We'd be dead because I think there's like a 5-minute scene of her just walking around saying underpants.
Yep, and then she says Hideki is a pervert at the end. But overall, I can definitely agree. I'm happy that you at least seem to be somewhat enjoying the show, though.
Yeah, I am. I think it's really interesting, the human computers, and I'm interested to see the whole, I guess, the storybook aspect where uh, she's talking about, like, I guess, so far it's symboling towards like love and stuff, and it's kind of interesting to see where that's going to go.
Yeah, but I think you'll enjoy more of it. And now I will need to watch something that you've been talking about, and I'm dangerously close to it.
Okay.
But anyways, my next set, I guess the next set of episodes, since it's a two-parter.
Okay.
Dragon Ball Super episodes 73 and 74, Gohan's Misfortune, an unexpected Great Saiyaman movie, and For the One He Loves, the unbeatable Great Saiyaman.
Okay.
This
I
is the
remember these episodes.
it's the episode where Gohan is in the Great Saiyaman movie and his co-star tries to get him to cheat on Videl. It's such a stupid episode. And I don't know. Gohan feels kind of clumsy in this, and I understand Gohan at times can be kind of clumsy, but at the same time, like I don't know, an infidelity story in Dragon Ball just seems so stupid to me. The idea of a Great Saiyaman movie, in my opinion, it's cheesy, but it does seem kind of cool. Well, heck, they could have made it even funnier if they did Hercule meets the Great Saiyaman or something like that. But overall, I just don't enjoy the episode because besides the whole kissing, taking a photo of a thing, there's just not a whole lot to it.
Yeah, it just doesn't feel right. I'll say I'll agree with you on that. It's just the way the Saints are portrayed, falling in love with strong women, and I mean, literally, it's like they may not be considered among the world's strongest, but I mean, Bulma, Chi Chi, and Videl can probably beat up Goku, Vegeta, and Gohan. So it's kind of one of those that, yeah, it just doesn't really fit with how they've kind of themed out the relationships.
I thought about some other Dragon Ball Super episodes, but I'm just like, I don't know. Oh, like I said, this episode stands out to me because I hated it, but it also stands out to me because I don't remember that much about it. So I'm like, not only was it out of character or out of writing, I guess a way of saying it, it just wasn't an interesting episode.
And if I remember correctly, this kind of takes place between the, what is it, Tournament 6 arc and the is it the Goku Assassin arc?
Something like that.
So it's kind of in an awkward place where it's got two pretty decent story arcs in smack dab between each, where it's just thrown into fill.
Yeah, but basically, but yep, this is your beast, guys. This is before. I guess that's was Gohan their way of saying, "Hey, sorry, Gohan. These episodes sucked. We're giving you beast form," which apparently they have actually legitimately confirmed. It's anybody can get that transformation. It's just based on fully unlocking your potential.
So despite not training still, he still somehow unlocks his potential again.
Well, he to be fair, the Grand Kai helped him when he did the with that transformation. But then again,
Mm.
I'm just happy because one, it's in Xenoverse now, and two, when we went did our list of Dragon Ball Z of what our powers and stuff in Dragon Ball would be like, I said I unlocked potential, so I get Beast. So your move.
All right. But yeah, as I said, I'll co-sign on to those episodes. They're forgettable, and even the parts that you can remember are not great. So,
Exactly. But what's your next thing?
so my next one is the scoop on Hero Class 1A My Hero Academia episode 64. This one opens I think it's season 5, and in the course of an episode, a reporter shows up because he's wanting to figure out who's All Might's successor. He knows that that must be someone, and he thinks it's Class 1A based on his deductions. But the fact that in an episode he manages to do everything and knows exactly like all of Deku's powers, abilities, and all this stuff, it's really dissatisfying because it's like the whole idea of them trying to keep it secret at this time, and only him, All Might, and Bakugo really are the only ones who know. And this guy figures it out in not even 12 hours with the class. So it's just disappointing. That it's like I know he's supposed to be a specialized journalist who's able to investigate this sort of thing, but still, I mean, this is supposed to be a big secret, and he figured it out in less than a day. So
Is his powers like deduction or something like that?
no, he
Is
can
he
literally.
a major does he become a major character? So
No,
he's just a one. Okay. All right. Oh no,
yeah,
that's not good.
yeah. His power is he can create cameras out of pretty much every part of his body, and they can be different types of cameras, and then they pretty much print out of his chest. Yeah.
I I, I need a My Hero video game where you play as him because I want to see how he does in a fight.
He's not really a fighter. He's more, as I said, he's just a journalist.
I was about to say confidently, did I stutter? But I do have a stutter, so that wouldn't have gone well.
But yeah, it's just disappointed that they made him be able to figure it out. I think it would have. I know it gives it a nice moment between him and Deku where he's like, "I know your secret, but I'm going to keep it for you." To now, it doesn't fit in the story where it is now, especially because they know the world now knows the villains are after Deku, but they don't know why. But he literally figured it out in 12 hours. It's like you're a journalist. You would have published this and told the world what the power is and all this stuff that you figured out. So it's just it doesn't fit where the story went from where it was when that was created.
Yeah, and you said this starts off season 5, correct?
It's either season 5 or season 4. I know it starts the season, so it's a weird area.
Yeah, I get that. Especially since this is supposed to be the start of a new season. People have been anticipating this, and this is what you're starting it off with. It's it to me. I have faced similar irks like when shows get new season, and the very first episode of the new season is a clip show. Oh, summarizing the season, and that makes some sense because you're catching people up. But it's like we've been waiting for a while, and we already know this stuff. What's the point?
I know there's a little bit of clip, but it's more of just a little bit of recap, and then it's kind of prepping for whatever the next little arc is. I can't remember which arc it starts with in this, but it's just, as I said, it just doesn't feel right, especially where you know the story is now in the anime and heck in the manga, especially.
Yeah. I have definitely heard some stuff, but I can co-sign. It doesn't sound like a great way to start the season.
Yeah. All right, your next episode.
Oh boy, this is the episode I've been hinting at for a while. Sonic X Season 1, Episode 10, Unfair Ball.
Okay.
Alright, so, we don't talk about Sonic X that in depth on this channel, so maybe I have to start from the beginning. So, Sonic X takes place in our world. We see Sonic and everybody else in Green Hill Zone or whatever the Sonic world is, and they basically get transported to the human world. And they're living with somebody named Chris, and Eggman's there, and they're basically trying to do what they usually do, save the world and all that nonsense. So throughout season 1, it's about Eggman getting the Chaos Emeralds, which I actually think is nice. I think it's nice that it's building up to him getting all of them, and then Sonic and friends having to save the day. It's nice pacing. But this episode is ridiculous. It starts off with Tails using one of the Chaos Emeralds to fly in his plane, and he picks up a signal that there's another Chaos Emerald in the baseball stadium that's in the town. He meets up with the person, and the Chaos Emerald shoot up a light. And Eggman says, "Oh, it's a Chaos Emerald. We need to go get that." And so, long story short, they basically decide to play a game of baseball to decide who keeps both Chaos Emeralds.
I just automatically, like, while you were talking about this, I just started thinking this is Shaolin Showdown.
Yeah, yeah, basically. And the thing is, Eggman's the one who says it. Eggman's the one who sends him a video saying, "Hey guys, let's meet up and play baseball for it." And Knuckles out of everybody's like, "Wait, you guys realize if Eggman wins, he'll be getting the Chaos Emeralds and that much more closer to our destruction." And everybody teams up on Knuckles and says, "Oh, I guess you're chicken, and you gotta ruin everybody's fun, huh?" And Knuckles just gets baited into playing, when oddly enough, he's the best player on the whole team. It's just a ridiculous. Don't get me wrong, it's a funny episode, but it's so bad because it doesn't make any sense with what's been going on. In all seriousness, Eggman's a genius. He's a threat. Yet for some reason, he's like, "Let's play baseball. I have my team, you have yours. Let's do this."
I mean, it's not the first time this has happened, or I guess it might have been, but it's not the last time we've seen a anime do a baseball episode, because even Dragon Ball Super did a baseball episode.
Yeah, but that episode was fun. That episode was kind of fun. But there are a couple of moments throughout the game because you know the rules of baseball. I assume you're smart enough to know that. But basically the robots on Eggman's team have been cheating the whole time, and it just leads to weird moments. Because do you remember Cream the rabbit? Or sorry, are you at least know of
Yeah,
her?
yeah, her and her little chow, right?
Yeah, Cheese.
Mm.
Okay, so she steps up to bat, and as look, I we give 4 kids a lot of crap, but I have to commend them because they did a better version of this. Because she gets up to bat, the robot's about to pitch to her, and she says, "Mister Pitcher, can you throw the ball soft? Because I've never played before." And she says it all cutesy, and the robot basically just lets her walk. In the English version, in the Japanese version, she confesses her love to the robot, and it's so bad. And Sonic and Friends win 36-35, which is a lot for a baseball game. And but Eggman steals the Chaos Emeralds and they fly off. And Chris's grandpa's like, "Well, we didn't win. We didn't get to keep the emeralds, but we all learned a lesson about teamwork." I'm like, "You lost 2 Chaos Emeralds. This is not a time to be celebrating." It's a stupid episode, but I would I'd be lying if I said I didn't get somewhat of a kick out of watching it.
As I said, I mean, this one feels like another one that would be perfectly placed as a filler episode either later in this season or in one of the later seasons as just a here you go, watch them play baseball instead of going after like the deep sea zone or something else to steal the Chaos Emerald. It just feels like that would be the case.
Yeah, I will say Eggman's 2 main henchman robots, they seem like they're so done with this. Like one of them's the umpire and straight up tells Tails, "I don't know what to tell you." Like I'm not going to call them out for cheating because I just don't care at this point. Like I said, bad episode, but I definitely recommend us watching or anybody watching it at some point.
I may have to give it a shot. I know I'll have to see where I can watch Sonic X.
Apparently it's on YouTube,
Oh, okay.
like completely free and everything.
Hmm. I'll have to have a look then. All right, so my next one.
Let's move on.
All right. So Summer Sea Swimsuit Festival Bleach episode 228.
Oh Jesus.
So there's already kind of over sexualized characters in Rangiku, Yoriichi, and all that. Well, now there's a beach episode, and so they do all the stereotypical things. And Bleach is really not a show that necessarily needed a beach episode. It's not like they're uh how to put it. It's not well. There's been a lot of fan service, but it's not necessarily been the focus, or it doesn't need a beach episode. Is kind of my mindset. But then they also throw in, if I remember correctly, it's been a long time since I've seen this episode. They throw in like a squid hollow that shows up and grabs different members of the because from what pretty much the story is that the Gote 13 Women's Association is throwing this. So it's all like the women officers, so all the female captains, all the uh, female lieutenants, and then a handful of the male members of the Gote 13, and then Ichigo go up to the beach. And they do have that stereotypical where some of the girls don't want to be in bathing suits, but get forced into it and all that. And it's like this is always done. It doesn't fit here as a. This is supposed to be kind of a military organization, and they're this is not looking good. And then, as I mentioned, it's a squid hollow, so they kind of take that tentacle, picking up women and stuff, and it's just it doesn't feel right for Bleach. It just
This is a
doesn't.
TV-14 anime, correct?
Yeah, it was on Adult Swim.
I don't know how much that help. I don't know how much that helps, but okay.
Well, I mean, that's where I remember seeing the episode because I was just watching them as they premiered on Adult Swim back in the day. So that was, and I know this episode came on. It's just, I don't know. It's disappointing that a show that didn't need a beach episode got a beach episode. It just doesn't feel the right feeling of this show like this.
Yeah, I can kind of agree with that. But is there like a purpose? Is it like do people get closer? Do they bond? Are there new strategies? Or oh,
It's a one-off episode. I think it cuts. It's one of the fillers. I think in the Iran Car arc. I could be wrong on the timing, but I'm pretty sure it's Iran Car arc. So it's just kind of a disappointing throw-in episode because Bleach unfortunately did that a lot, where it would have its filler arcs, but they would also have filler episodes that just cut randomly in the middle of seasons. Because I know they did like Arabian Nights when they were in Waco Mundo,
oh, please
and
tell me it was an Aladdin crossover.
I wish that might have made that episode halfway decent. I may talk about that on our next one. I'll have to look it up though.
I'm just telling you, Renji versus Iago is the fight that none of us are ready for.
Yeah, that would be kind of weird.
Yeah, but overall, I can co-sign. It doesn't sound like a fun time for anybody.
Yeah, it's just a little disappointing, especially as I said, I think if I remember correctly, it's thrown in a really bad spot.
Oh goodness.
All right, your next one.
All right, we should both be able to talk about this one. Yu-Gi-Oh! Season 2, Episode 31. Lights, Camera, Duel.
Okay, so this one was actually one of the ones I moved to my one for the next episode or for
Well,
part three.
well, feel free to delete it. Okay,
Yep.
so I just rewatched this episode today, and it's a bad episode. It's basically Mai gets challenged by Jean Claude Magnum. That's his name, correct?
I know it's something like that.
It's not
It's
Jean Claude Van Damme because that's like a
real
that's
person.
ridiculous. Yeah, but Jean Claude Magnum, and he's basically saying, if I win, you have to marry me. Hey, it's very similar to Jaden versus what the tennis guy from GX. So it's like whoever wins gets to be Alexis's fiance. But at least this time, Mai gets to duel for herself. But it's just a bad episode. The duel itself is not that interesting. They make Mai feel more like a prize than anything. And while it's cool, she stood up for herself. It's just it's it's also right before the Battle City final, so like
Mhm.
it's not helpful for anybody.
Well, and it also follows like one of the greatest duels in the entire series with Yugi versus mind controlled Joey.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's coming off of probably one of the most emotional duels that you have in the entire series.
Yeah, and it's either is it also I think is right before Bakura versus Bones and him sending them all to the Shadow Realm or something like that. I don't know. It was a weird way to break up the duels. I will say this episode does have a couple of bright spots though.
If I remember correctly, does he enter on like a kite or something or a glider, but it's like a kite?
Well, some he hires somebody on a kite, but he crashes through the wall with his limo.
Okay.
But I wasn't even going to say that. I was just going to say Mai explains to Joey why she helped him out in Duelist Kingdom when he lost his prize money card thanks to Man Keith. She basically says, "You were so pathetic, but what you wanted to do for your sister I thought was kind of sweet." So it reaffirms that. I love the interactions between Serenity and Mai because Serenity's like, "Don't you guys think Mai's so cool? She's so tough." And Mai doesn't really know how to process it, but I don't know. Watching there are some little moments that I think are cool, but it's weird, especially the Japanese version. Because I watched the Japanese version the other day. It takes things in a kind of a little bit of a different direction.
Okay.
Well, in the English version, Joe when Jean Claude snaps at Joey and basically he says, "Has you're basically distracting me and you're helping my win." And Joey gets mad and says, "If you we know Joey. He's a nice guy, but he will stand up and basically fight for his friends. He's just like, if you don't back off, I'll show you some kung fu moves." And everybody kind of looks at Joey like, "What? What?" I'm like, guys, that's in character. But in the Japanese version, apparently he said as to Joey, "Well, oh well, oh you should back off. Mine wouldn't want to be with somebody like you." And Joey said, "As yeah, that doesn't matter. I'd happily." He said he basically affirms that at some point, and he's like, "I could be with Maya if I wanted to, and if she wanted to." And that's when everybody turns, and he's like, "I mean, whatever," which is weird because of the age difference, but you understand what I mean.
Yeah, from my understanding, it's not as big a deal in Japan, but for us, yeah, I can understand that.
Yeah, but like a couple of bright spots, but it's not a good episode. It's not a good episode.
No, as I said, I was considering putting that one on my list. It was I moved it to my part three if we ever get around to that part three of this. So
We might have to at some point. But what's your next episode?
so this one is just kind of a little disappointing. It's Itoki the ninja from Shinobi no Itoki, which came out last season. It's the final episode of the series. So pretty much he's first he's tricked his own clan into thinking that he was going to surrender um, when he was just trying to manipulate the enemy clan. He goes in to assault the enemy clan by himself to prevent the rest of his clan from being pretty much marked for execution for attacking another clan. They get all this evidence, and it's just the big bad is supposed to be this frail guy who was born into a ninja clan as the eldest son, and then but was passed over for his little brother because his little brother was healthy and he wasn't. So he kind of wants revenge against all the clans just to destroy the way of ninja. Um, it's like he's already defeated, kind of. It's just he doesn't want to continue, and then the uncle of Itoki kills him and has to go on the run because he got caught killing the guy in person. So it's just for the ending, it doesn't feel right. You've kind of wanted them all to succeed as a group, and while the uncle sacrifices himself and goes on the run to allow everybody else to be free, it's not a satisfying conclusion to the story.
Yeah, I can definitely understand that. It always kind of sucks in that regard when you think, oh, this person's meant for more, or this person's gonna make it out of this, and you're just like, oh no, that it's like I said with the Dragon Ball Super movie with Ganma. Even if it made sense for this character to die, I'm still like, I don't know, I wanted more.
Yeah, and as I said, because the uncle kills the bad guy, you don't get to see him get arrested, and you like they jump like the end of the series jumps like 10 years into the future, and it's just disappointing because again the uncle's still on the run. The enemy clans now kind of rebuilt under new leadership, but it's still one of those things that you feel like they should have like the rest of they should have shown the clan learning that uh their old leader was killed by his own brother because they didn't agree on how to run the world pretty much, and so
Yeah.
it's just disappointing.
Yeah, I want to give this show a chance, and maybe I will someday. But yeah, I think I can agree with that. I guess I can co-sign.
I mean, overall, I enjoyed this series. It's just the ending is just a little disappointing for me.
Yeah, I can I can understand that.
All right, so it's honorable mentions time.
Yeah, like I said, I have four technically.
I can do four.
All right, I'm gonna get the worst one. Honestly, this should have been. This is number one. Like this is the worst episode on my list.
Okay,
Pokemon episode 18, Beauty and the Beach.
is this the one I'm thinking of that is a
Yeah,
banned episode?
yeah.
Okay.
Now, a lot of people hate this episode because it's the episode where James has fake breasts and everything. That's honestly, when you watch it, that's the least offensive part of the whole episode. Basically, there are just a lot of pervy moments throughout it, like an old man being into Misty. They have a bikini contest to raise money for whatever the heck is for the old man, and Misty gets pressured into doing it when she's clearly not okay with it. And in the Japanese version, in the English version, apparently they don't say anything too bad, but in the Japanese version, Team Rocket basically say, "Why would anybody be interested in you? You're not developed." Which I'm like, well, she's like 10 or 11, so I don't know. It comes off as a really mean spirited episode, and like I don't know. It it doesn't feel like Pokemon to me. I know with joke, especially with the Alola gang, that everybody feels a little too nice to each other, but this felt especially cruel, and it's a wonder why it's banned, because it's a horrible episode.
Yeah, I mean, as you said, it's not. I've only seen this episode, I think, once, and that was years ago when it was kind of unbanned or kind of at an awkward spot where you could still find it easily. Um, but it's yeah, I can agree. It's one of those episodes that everybody's heard of, and it's banned for the James and the having the inflatable breasts and all that. But yeah, there's just other parts that aren't great now. So weren't great then either. But
Yeah, I put it on the honorable mentions list because I just didn't want to talk about it that long, and that's usually what honorable mentions are for the most
yeah,
part.
although sometimes I notice we do have really long honorable mentions.
Yeah, but the list is whatever I say is the worst on my list is the worst on my list. That was it. But everything else is bad, but like everything else is bad, but still.
I've got one I'm saving specifically for my final one because of how bad the episode actually is.
Same here.
So I'll go with the one I have for Pokemon, which is Bout with a Sprout. This is episode 130 in the Johto. Well, episode 130 total, but it's in one of the Johto series.
Okay, I don't think I know this one.
So this is the one with Sprout Tower. Ash and Misty and Brock have reached Violet City, and they run into some kids and are convinced to go to the school to kind of show off their Pokemon and be guest instructors for a day.
Okay.
Well, one of the kids, Zachary, develops really wants Pikachu to the point where he
Oh
tries to
no.
kidnap
Oh
Pikachu.
god, not one of these episodes.
Yeah, and pretty much demands that Ash give him Pikachu. When Ash refuses, the kid steals a Pokeball from Ash and goes after Pikachu. Um, they end up he throws the Pokeball thinking he's going to catch Pikachu, catches a Bellsprout, and this kid, that's the thing. People, uh, again, I know every person wants their own Pokemon and has a specific one that they probably would really want, but this kid is like 4 or 5, and now he has a Bellsprout because he caught it, and the Bellsprout actually wants to be his Pokemon, and yet he keeps rejecting the Bellsprout because he just all he wants is Pikachu. He's like, "Give me Pikachu! I want Pikachu!" Attempts to kidnap, attempts to capture, and from what I remember, he also gets annoyed when he catches the Bellsprout because it's not the Pokemon he wants, and it's just annoying.
Yeah, it makes you feel bad for the Bellsprout in question, but at the same time, you're also like, why do you want to be this kid's Pokemon? I don't know. I'm remembering this episode more and more, and it makes me sad because I feel like Johto had a lot of bad filler episodes. Some of them were so bad they're good, but this one in particular, if I remember, was just bad. Bad.
This is one of the episodes that if I go back and watch the series, I skip over when I because I always read the description before I watch now.
Yeah, I don't completely blame you.
But yeah, it's just an annoying kind of one-off character that's too much of the focus of an episode, unfortunately.
All right, and I can co-sign it. Now that I remember it, I'm upset that I remember it.
Exactly.
Anyways, my next one.
Go right ahead.
All right, Love is Blind, episode 6 of Buddy Daddies.
Okay.
What's wrong?
I don't recognize the name of the series.
All right, all right, now I really have to start from the beginning. Okay, so Buddy Daddies is about two assassins named Kazuki and Rei, and they end up taking in a 4-year-old child named Miri.
Okay.
So at this point, they're all basically used to each other. They're all settled in, and they learned that Miri had a fight at daycare. Here, the teacher says, "Hey, I don't mean to trouble you guys, but I think Miri got in a fight with one of her friends at school." Oh, so Kazuki he tells Miri, "Hey, did you get in a fight at school? I'll take your side. Like, just be honest and tell me the truth." But he keeps pressuring her about it. to the point where she ends up saying, "I hate you, Papa," and he's dejected basically the whole episode. And the next day, they do some field trip where they go to the zoo, and Kazuki and Ray just start stalking her the whole episode just to be sure she's safe, even though the field trip specifically said, "Don't bring any parents with you. This is just teachers and students." Meanwhile, the kids get lost in the same episode. She's dealing with this kid who's kind of a bully, and I don't know. It really dives into the overprotective parent trope, and also just the oh, my kid says they hate me, so now I have to do everything in my power to make sure they like me. And the message of the episode, obviously, if your kid tells you something, listen to them because your kid could be telling you the truth. At the same time, though, I don't know. I found the characters, a bit more annoying than usual. Well, there are a couple of hilarious jokes, but overall, it's probably my least favorite episode of what is an otherwise great series so far.
Okay, yeah. It also seems a little, again, I keep bringing up placement of episodes, but for like an episode 4 to be that connected as if they're taking in this kid, it just doesn't feel necessarily like that disagreement feels at the right place.
I
Maybe it is. It's but
Here's the thing: it might be, but I don't even know. And I know a lot of people like this episode, and I kind of don't get why. Because the funny episodes, like the cheesy funny episodes, are usually really good, while the darker episodes are also really good. But this one just didn't sit well for me. It's not a
Mhm.
horrible episode, and think about that. If I say the worst episode of something is a not very good episode, that says something about the rest of the series. But it didn't sit well for me for some reason.
I can understand that. And again, you brought up the tropes of like uh, a parent go having their kid tell them that they don't like them or something, and or not liking something, and then they overreact the other in one direction. So I that's done a lot. So I can
Yeah.
kind of understand. That might be a good one for a trope video.
Yeah, it's weird because they've done it in that show before, and I find it funny, but just not this time. Of course, everything works out in the end, but that's it. Overall, I think you would really like Ray. He's kind of similar to you in the set because there's one episode where Kazuki tells Ray, "Hey, dude, we're running out of money. If we run out of money, we can't buy video games or beer anymore." And Ray immediately turns like, "What did you say? We have to fix this."
Oh my god. Video games and beer money. No.
And then they say, "Oh, by the way, if we don't do that, we don't have money. We can't buy pudding either." And Miri's like, "No." And they're like, "Really? We need other stuff to live besides video games, beer, and whatever." But it's not a great episode, but I'm still enjoying the series so far. It's legitimately a show I'm watching every single week.
What's the name of it again?
Buddy Daddies.
Buddy Daddies. Okay, I'll have to have a look at that and see. I hadn't even heard of it, so that's why.
We're 11 episodes in. I think 9 episodes have been dubbed, and I know dub is easier for you.
Yeah, it's just so I can work on everything else I have to do.
No, but like I said, probably the worst episode for me so far. But like I said, if it's still okay to me or not that bad, the rest of the series must be really good.
Okay, yeah, it sounds like it. So I'll have to, as I said, I'll have to look that one up and give it a shot. Probably
Sure,
after I finish Showbits.
sure, why not?
All right. So my next one.
Go for it.
So this one's a long one. So
Is it the
uh
Gintama episode?
no, but it's I mean, so the name of the episode is Mind If I Go Easy on You. The name of the show is Trapped in a Dating Sim, a world of Otome games is tough for mobs.
God damn it! Why are there so many isekai that you're watching?
I finished this one a while ago.
Oh, okay, that helps.
Um, but
Wait,
yeah, so
I'm
and this
sorry,
is
but you said something about something being hard for moms.
for mobs, like a video game. It's a Otome games is tough for mobs is the name of the
Didn't you at one point say you didn't want to give this show a chance, or am I thinking of something else?
I might have, I don't remember,
Anyways, go ahead.
but this one, a lot of this series is a heavy power fantasy where the main character is overpowered like normal, but um this one So the way the world is developed isn't great in this series because he finds this ancient armor that's from an advanced civilization. Um, and the armor is very outdated in style. It's like 3 times the size of everybody else's. And by armor, I mean like a giant mech suit. Um, and so he's challenging like the crown prince and his 4 friends to a battle. And this entire episode is just him kicking their butt. And they're all supposed to have like the state of the art, and none of them can do anything pretty much. And it's just one of those episodes where they uh up the power fantasy so much. It's like, couldn't one of them have at least been able to do something? I mean, they're gonna. I know in part of it they're gonna sabotage his armor and all that. It's just, it's not a good episode, unfortunately. And I don't know. I like the power fantasies sometimes, but this just feels over the top with the fact that again they all these 4 or 5 guys all have the same or have really nice mobile suits.
And like mobile suits and the fan. Okay,
Yeah,
I don't have a reaction to any of that, but I guess I have to co-sign. The show doesn't really seem like it's for me. I
it's
want you to
probably
find.
not.
Maybe you could find one isekai that I would actually like, but oddly enough, with our talk of isekai, I think I'm more into giving Konosuba more of a chance than you are. Oddly enough.
I might have one that I think might work well for you. I've talked about it, I think, before. I'll find the name of it and give it to you, because it's not a big like magic power fighting that style. It's got more of a almost slice of life. I'll find it and give you
Yeah.
the name.
Yeah, but I guess I can co-sign onto your thing. So I have 2 honorable mentions left.
Yeah, and I can too.
All right. So my next one,
Go right ahead.
Naruto episode 158. Follow my lead, the Great Survival Challenge.
Okay.
All right, so this is a filler episode, and it's an honorable mention because it makes everybody except Naruto look good.
Okay.
Okay, so Tsunade gives most of the Genin a mission. Hey, a lot of the academy students are still basically learning the ropes, so we want you guys to have a survival exercise, a survival challenge with them, where you like lead them to the end point. Naruto basically says, "No, I'm still looking for Sasuke," which it seems weird how this kid's able to get away with saying no this many times to the Hokage, but whatever. But she basically says, "Oh, somebody who could become Hokage wouldn't turn down on something like this, especially since they're supposed to look up to you and everything." Of course, he says yes, and predictably, he hits Konohamaru's squad. And oddly enough, they have no faith in him from the get go. They're immediately like, "Oh yeah, we're with you. This isn't going to go well, is it?"
That's actually out of character because they're like big on calling him Big Brother Naruto and all that.
Yeah, like, and you see their fears are kind of justified because they keep getting lost. They keep getting lost. Naruto isn't properly prepared. Like he brings food and snacks with them that you can't complete, that you couldn't consume if you were stuck in the forest or whatever. Look, they get lost and trapped in a cave thanks to the storm. Or they make it out because Iruka and Shikamaru end up saving them. And in the end, and when they all kind of learn to work well together, Konohama's squad basically says, "Yeah, it was all Naruto's fault." They tell Tsunade that, and she chases him to end the episode.
I only vaguely remember these episodes because it's been a long time since I watched the end of Naruto fillers, so I know I've seen some of them, but I do remember this episode vaguely.
Yeah. The one upside is all the other Genin are doing a good job. Like Neji's being smart about it. Choji's telling them what proper plants and stuff that grows out that you would be able to eat. The kids are very nice to Hinata what she's going through. But my favorite is when Rock Lee's like, "All right, we should take a break. We should take a break now." And all the kids say at the same time, "Yes, sir, Lee Sensei." And he's like, "What did you say?" "Yes, sir, Lee Sensei." And he's so proud they end up running off towards the goal. It's funny, but at the same time, it's also kind of sweet. Like Like, Lee's that good of a leader, and they look up to him, and he shows them respect. It's cool in that regard, but it's still not a good episode.
Well, of course, because it's probably what just flashes of everybody else, and Naruto's team is the main focus.
Yeah.
That's yeah. Unfortunately, that's a lot of the filler. Is when other people might have a good chance to shine, they just don't. Unfortunately,
Yeah, when you think about it, 1010 might be undefeated in filler.
unless you count the oh god, the dreams of the world arc or whatever
I
it's
don't.
called.
I don't. I don't.
Well, she lost to the Eye of the World or Eye on the Moon plan, so
No, no. But like I said, it has its ups and downs. It's a bad episode though. It just because it has a couple moments, it's still bad.
yeah. So I guess I can do this one as a combination. And I'll go, and it's Naruto as well. It's episodes 41 and 42 of Naruto. It's pretty much the Ino Sakura fight.
Oh Jesus!
The fact that when I looked this up, I forgot that this had two episodes that it took place over.
Sadly, I remembered.
So it's just that fight is so disappointing, and the fact that it's like thinking back on it, it's like Sakura has next to no skills other than extreme chakra control at this point. At least Ino has a secondary or a main jutsu that's her main focus. Sakura doesn't even have her super strength yet. She doesn't have her healing. There's just no reason for Sakura to have tied. Ino should have been able to win this fight, hands down at this point.
Yeah, and the fact that's two episodes just makes it. I understand what they were trying to do. I don't know. The whole them holding back in the beginning thing was kind of weird here, and it's just a long, uninterrupted flashback. It wasn't well paced, and it wasn't what either girl needed.
The highlight of the episode is when the proctor, I forgot what his name is, the guy we talked about who does the sword fight and all that.
Oh, Hayate.
Yeah, yeah. He's the highlight of this episode when he goes, "You both suck. Both of you are disqualified."
Yeah, I'm telling you, ooh, he's the hero we deserve. He's the hero we need, but not the hero we deserve.
Exactly. Unfortunately, he died like 5 episodes later.
You don't have to remind me about that. It made me very upset.
That would be an interesting one. He had a son somewhere, and we get to follow his son in battle.
That would be cool to me.
Uh, so your last honorable mention?
Alrighty. It's technically one episode, but in my opinion, I'll explain. Shoot, I don't know what episode number it is, but I do know. I don't know what episode it is, but I do still have the name of it.
Okay.
I almost don't even want to say it because it's Black Clover and it's a Gordon centered episode. So you'd think I'd be super happy about it, but alas, I'm not. Okay, here we go. Black Clover, Charmy's Century of Hunger, and Gordon's Millennium of Loneliness.
Well, it just sounds depressing.
Okay, it's episode 137, Charmy's Century of Hunger and Gordon's Millennium of Loneliness. Okay, so basically, while they're all training to go up against the Kingdom, everybody's training to get better, including Charmy. Charmy's making a bunch of foods, and everybody eats them. And you know the thing with Charmy: when you eat her food, your magic gets stronger. But for some reason, she's very upset about it. She's like, no, this isn't enough. I can get stronger, despite the fact that it seems to be working well. And she meets up with this chef who teaches and trains her everything. And then when they get back and she's perfected her new cooking skills, the food turns out to be basically demon food, and it saps people's mana somehow.
Okay.
Basically, they use a lot of different magic foods, and it's revealed that, oh, Charmy, I feel like your food wasn't as good because you were cooking it to get stronger when you usually cook to make people happy. And I'm like, wait, but the point of her doing this was to get stronger. It sends a confusing message. It does get kind of funny because the chef shows up at the hideout and Yami keeps asking, seriously, who the hell are you and why are you here? But not to mention, the pacing doesn't work for me because every other Black Bull got their own centric filler episode, except for Charmy and except for Gordon. Because the next part is Gordon realizing he's not that strong. He gets beaten by Asa in a fight really, really easily. So he goes off on his own into the forest to train, and he ends up getting attacked by these giant wolves. And he basically realizes his poison does no damage to them. And part of his thing is that he realizes at the end that he attacked them because they startled him for a second. But he later realizes that, like, he gives them a hug and says, "I'm sorry, I startled you, and that's why you attacked me." That's my bad. It's a weird, confusing message. I admittedly, I like that Gordon's like, I can't solve every single problem just through fighting. Sometimes it's just a case of you have to settle things a different way, despite the fact that hasn't really played out so far yet. And he leaves a note saying, "Guys, don't come looking for me. I'm going on basically my own journey." And they find the note and say, "Oh, we have to go. Let's get going." Only to turn out it was a coupon for a 90% off at a restaurant, and they basically all just leave each other. It's a frustrating episode. Yeah, I see the look on
So
your
they,
face.
so they just pretty much they don't care that Gordon Lee is leaving on a journey. They're more like, oh, a coupon. Let's go to the restaurant.
Yeah, basically. In the end, I don't even think they saw his note, but at the same time, I'd like to think somebody would be thinking, "Hey man, aren't we missing some where's Gordon? I'll go knock on his door if well, no, nobody? Okay."
I mean, that feels like something Asta would do. He would go, at least, I mean, in my mindset, he would point out that, hey, we're missing someone.
Yeah, it just doesn't sit well for me. That being said, if I'm being completely honest, if I got a coupon that said 90% off of Fogo or something like that, if anything, I would call you guys and be like, "Get your asses over here now. If you don't show up, we are leaving without you." But I am at least letting you know.
Yeah, yeah, I can understand that, but yeah, just, I mean, maybe if it had played off like where, because I am assuming that he has at least one fight against the Spade Kingdom, Gordon.
Uh, yeah, that's why it's an honorable mention because apparently he does something really cool. Well, during the whole arc, heck, I heard Magna is probably the MVP of that arc. But it's I don't know. It doesn't sit well for me, especially since like I said, I don't like when characters are forgotten about and it's a running joke. It doesn't sit well for me.
Yeah, I can agree with that. But if it happens to pay off where he has a fight that he realizes he can't win and is able to talk his way out of it, or at least not maybe not just be able to befriend them or end the fight a different way rather than fighting, then maybe it'll pay off a bit better. But
Yeah, like a
that,
game of baseball, like Sonic. Yeah, which reminds me, Eisen, Madara, and Frieza, they challenged the two of us to a game of hopscotch for the fate of the universe. So we got to get on that.
oh, great! My balance is really not.
Yeah, but they said we could recruit anybody we wanted. I recruited Yusuke from Persona, so hopefully it works. The plan's doomed.
Yeah, yep. All right. So my last honorable mention.
Go for it.
So a new roar, Rising of the Shield Hero episode 26. So this is this first episode of season 2.
Oh goody.
And we're revealed to the next big threat to the world is a being they're calling the spirit tortoise, which is just this giant tortoise that walks around and uses its own summons to steal people's souls, which are pretty much like bats with turtle shells, other just monsters, but everything has a turtle shell attached to it.
Well, of course. What else would you do?
But you kind of end the last part or the first season with thinking that the all the heroes are now going to be a bit more able to work together, and just the fact that as soon as they find out that this threat's there, the spear, the sword, and the bow hero all run off to do it themselves without backup, and on their way. And then the shield hero and his party are on their way and find and get word that all three of the other heroes have pretty much been killed. It's just like, really? And unfortunately, season 2 was not good. People were kind of hoping it would bounce back, but it did, unfortunately.
Is there a third season coming?
I know there's material for it. I don't know if season 2 did well enough to warrant season 3. It'll be a while. I mean, it took them like a year and a half to just announce season 2.
Oh, that's unfortunate. Yeah, I'm gonna be honest. I've kind of been wanting to give this show a chance, but it seems kind of asinine. And something's bad when even I think this is too weird even for me.
Yeah, I mean, season 1, I really like the first half, and parts of the second half are really good. It's just there's little bits here and there in the second half that are a little annoying, and you have to get through that first episode, which is the very controversial one for Shield Hero.
Wait, Shield Hero?
Yeah, that's what.
Okay. Oh no, never. No, no. Okay, yeah. Sorry. That's my bad. I zoned out for a quick.
Oh, what show did you think I was talking
I
about?
thought you meant that time I got reincarnated as a slime for a second.
Oh no. I
Sorry,
like
that's
all
the
of that
show that
series.
seems. That's the show. I'm like, oh wow, that show actually seems like. I mean, you said Rising of the Shield Hero. Like that first episode seems like it would turn me off. Like, I don't know.
Yeah, no, I can understand that. And then, I mean, at least there's some development and that works out for the first season, but this just doesn't feel right. There's not any of the growth that we thought we saw in season 1 isn't there. It's just kind of a disappointing start to season 2. And as I said, season 2 isn't great of Rising of the Shield Hero.
Yeah, but I guess I can co-sign on to that. So last ones.
Yep.
What's the what's the franchise of your last episode?
Sword Art Online Alicization is, so it's
Good.
season 3.
Okay, good. We don't share the same one because it's another Pokemon one, but this might be my least favorite Pokemon episode that's not horrifically offensive.
Okay.
Pokemon Season 15, so Black and White, Episode 1. Enter Elisa, electrifying gym leader.
Okay.
You just got done with Black and White, didn't you?
Yeah, I'm just trying to remember which this episode is.
Okay, all right. You'll. I feel bad because I'm usually out of our history, I'm usually the one who's been defending Black and White. I'm the one saying, guys, it's not that bad. There's some stuff about that doesn't really work, but overall, I think it has its moments. But oh dear God, I can't defend this episode in any stretch of the imagination. It's the first episode of Rival Destinies, and it's just okay. So the gang gets to Elisa's gym, and they meet up with their friend Bianca. And Ash basically says, "I'm going to challenge Elisa." Well, and Bianca says, "Well, actually, I had an appointment, so I get to challenge. So I actually get to challenge first." Only for Bianca's dad to show up and say, "I'm here to take you home." Yeah, and I see the look on your face. It's slowly coming back to you.
It is.
Meanwhile, now I'm here to take you home because you're not mature enough or old enough to do a Pokemon journey, despite the fact she probably has 2 or 3 badges that say otherwise, but whatever. Meanwhile, he basically makes a bet with Bianca. He tells Bianca, if you beat Elisa and get your badge, I'll go home. But if you don't, you have to come home. And Bianca loses, like, really easily. Like, so Iris keeps nudging Ash and saying, "Hey, Ash, do something about this." I'm like, why don't you do something? Don't get Ash to do it. But they all have lunch, and Silent even says, "Ash, you should do something." I'm like, why is Ash the person who has to do something? I don't know. Oh, but this is where things get frustrating because they tell him, "Hey, Bianca's dad." No, seriously, his name's Bianca's dad. I don't think he actually has a name. And they tell him, "Hey, Bianca's been our friend, and you should let her keep traveling." And Bianca's dad says, "Okay, Ash, if you beat me in the battle, I'll let Bianca keep traveling. But if you lose to me, you have to go back to Pallet Town." I'm like, "Okay, up yours, dude. What sense does this make?" Even ignoring the other asinine idea of, if a grown man telling Ash to go home and making him stay there. Let's think about this. If Ash wins, how does that prove Bianca is ready to keep going on her journey? What sense does that make?
Uh, yeah, this once you started describing what was going on in this episode, I do remember it. I can 100% agree with this.
Yeah. The crazy thing is, you could even flip it. Have Bianca be like, "Hey, Dad, if I beat you then I get to keep traveling." That would at least have made a little more sense. And it turns out her dad's an experienced battler because they call him the Red Magma. And he has this suit underneath. And at least the thing is, Ash ends up winning and saving Bianca. Except he doesn't. Ash loses to Bianca's dad. It's so per the agreement, Ash has to go home. But of course he sees the error of his ways. He's like, "No, I'll let Bianca keep traveling." Why? And at the end of the episode, Bianca says thank you to her dad, but she doesn't say thank you to Ash for like trying to help her or anything. It's Nobody in this episode looks good, and especially Elisa, because if Ash loses to this guy, but then he beats Elisa in once again a not very good battle, that makes her look worse. That make Nobody in this episode who's supposed to look good looks good. It's a bad episode. It's one of the worst episodes ever.
I can agree to that. It feels like it should have been if they were going to do this, they do the bet. Bianca beats what was her name, the gym leader,
Elisa?
Alyssa, but the dad still says you need to come home. You're still not ready to do this, and make it more of an overprotective parent that's uh even when they're proven wrong doesn't, and then have Ash not necessarily beat him in a battle, but talk about one of the times that they've worked together to stop something from happening or doing something, and eventually, like, and making him see that, oh, she's not my 5-year-old little girl. She's my 13 or 14 because I think she's supposed to be a little older.
I don't know. Not to mention, while Bianca is losing to Elsa, he has this smug smile on his face, like, "Ha, I'm being proven right." Whereas if I was in that situation and I felt the same way, I would want my daughter to prove me wrong and be like, "Oh, I was wrong, sweetie. I'm so sorry. Go on your journey, but please be careful." That sort of thing. But it seems more like he's enjoying it. Yes. Not to mention at the end when Ash loses, Iris is like just bluntly says, "So does this mean Ash has to go back to Pallet Town?" I'm like, "Iris, you are not helping right now."
Yeah, I mean, it might be fine. We might get Galler that way if he had actually listened and gone home.
Yeah, and based on what I hear about Paldea, we're not getting that in the next series either. But I don't know. It's not a good episode, especially because he's voiced by hi in the English stuff, he's voiced by the same person who does Yusei's voice in Yu-Gi-Oh! 5D, so it makes me think Yusei would be a bad dad, and I don't think he would be because Yusei's awesome.
All right.
It's a horrible. All right, let's finish this out.
All right. So my final one is another one that's really not a great episode. I don't know what what it is with the creator of Sword Art and his kind of obsession with this, because I talked about a similar episode in our first episode of this.
Oh God, no!
So this is Sword Art Online Alicization episode 10. It's 59 of the full series, Taboo Index.
Oh
So
no!
yeah, so um pretty much Kirio and his friend have entered the I forgot what the name of the academy is, but it's pretty much like Magic Knight Academy for the world they're in. Um I guess it's Integrity Knight, or which is just they enforce all the different rules of the world, but um they get pages who are two younger students. Both of them happen to be female.
Oh no!
Well, Kirito and his friend piss off these nobles who decide to kidnap their pages. And once they get there, based on the rules of the world, the nobility can order them to just kind of stand there and not do anything, and they have to obey. And they pretty much order the friend, I forgot his name, to stand there and watch as they're going to rape their pages. Yeah, I don't know what it is with this creator. Luckily, the friend is able to break the seal that pretty much forces him to follow the rules of the world, and kills he cuts off the arm of one of the guys and freaks the other one out, saving the pages. But this is the second story arc that has a major almost rape scene in it, that in this series, which is kind of a turn off. I kind of don't want to watch any more of this series just because it keeps happening. I'm afraid that it's going to happen again.
Yeah, you start to understand why the Misty being objectified episode was an honorable, because I just didn't want to talk about it for longer than I had to. But yeah, I've never seen the episode. I don't want to watch the episode. I co-sign, because now I just feel sad.
Yeah, and it's not even it's that important. I mean, they could have literally changed it to that they attack the pages, beat them up, and then and then Kirito and his friend go for revenge, and that's where they cut off one of their arms, break the rules, and we would have gotten to the same point where they end up in the next episode having to get them taken by Integrity Knights for breaking the rules. Literally, right there, it's ends up in the same place, and you don't have to deal with this not good topic.
Can I make it somewhat? Can I try and make it a little better?
Go ahead.
They say we're gonna make you stand there and do nothing and keep your eyes open, and then they just put on one of our videos.
Oh, so just flat out torture then.
Exactly. It would have been much funnier, especially because it would have been like, wait, this episode came out years ago, and these guys didn't start this until the timing doesn't really work. But I'm trying to end the episode on a somewhat lighthearted note, because good Jiminy Christmas, that's bad.
Yeah, it's, as I said, I don't know why this creator has done this twice now for his series. The end of season 1, part 2, and the halfway point in season 3 or 4. It's just, why? I mean, there's no reason for this. As I said, in 5 seconds I created another version where it's just that they're going to attack the pages, and they get told to do the same thing and are supposed to watch that. It's like, then they're defending them still, but it's not perverted and gross.
Yeah. I guess I co-sign, but once again, now I'm just sad.
Yeah. Well, as I said, these are the worst episodes, so
yeah. And a lot of mine were some of the worst episodes. But the thing with mine is I feel like I had a lot of episodes where I said, well, these have redeeming qualities, and for the most part, every episode does kind of have some redeeming qualities, but just there are a good amount out there that's just like, no.
And this is one of them, unfortunately.
Yeah. But I'm gonna be honest, I'm tempted to watch. I kind of want to watch, out of all of the My Hero episodes, I'm tempted by the news reporter one because it seems so out of pocket.
As I said, well, I mean, I think I've told you enough that you might be able to watch it on its own just to get the feel for that episode. But
then again, now I want you to watch. Then again, I want to get all of you guys together and we can watch the Sonic X Baseball episode.
Yeah, I can see it. It makes sense for our little group of friends.
Yeah. But anyways, should we close out?
Go right ahead.
Alright, so ladies, gentlemen, and others, what are some of your least favorite episodes in the anime? It doesn't have to be just one episode, it could be a multi-parter, it could even be an arc, but I feel like we're kind of saving talking about arcs for another day, if we ever decide to do a sequel on those videos. But just episodes that made you feel sad, episodes that really upset you, or episodes that are just kind of like so bad they're good, just anything.
Yeah, and just, I mean, I would say just for this part, just episodes and maybe like 2 or 3 parters that are not a full arc in and of itself.
we'll talk about full arcs another day, because like I said, we have a lot of favorite arcs, and we also have a lot of arcs that were like, they weren't horrible, but let's touch them up by doing X, Y, and Z.
Exactly.
Yeah, and I feel like I said like a month ago, we just got to 400 subscribers, and now we're dangerously close to 500, because good God, you guys have been busy, and we appreciate that. Please keep doing that. If you get to 500, then, well, I don't know. I never thought we'd get this far, so I don't know. What do you tell us what you guys want?
Yeah, I don't know what to do. We've never gotten to a real good milestone until now.
Yeah, Richard
Maybe 100.
Richard said road to 425, and we're past that, so that doesn't completely work.
Oh God, we missed road to 420.
Yeah, that was on you, buddy. But anyways, smash, stack, and pin the like, comment, and subscribe button. Put a review, leave us some ideas, and we will see you guys next time. This has been Alex.
And Richard.
And you have been listening to Anime Egotists. Good night, and peace easy.